contribution now.
Thank you very much. I have to say I'm enormously privileged to run BPAS, and I can't describe to you how offensive and insulting it's been to our staff to be described as almost salesmen pushing abortion services, where they are genuinely pro-choice, and that means that when we provide pregnancy counselling for women, it is about providing them with information and support, whether they decide to proceed with an abortion or indeed whether they decide to proceed with their pregnancy. And I think that's one thing that I really want to say, that there is no two sides of the coin between organisations that are providing services supporting women's choice and organisations that have a principled opposition to abortion. And I think it's important to clock that. Second thing is that I think abortion is a really difficult issue for a lot of politicians, because in some ways it exists on two different planes. There's a discussion about the politics of abortion and whether it's right and whether it's wrong, whether it's moral, whether it's ethical. And that's fair enough perhaps for politicians to be deciding under what circumstances abortion should be able to be legal. Although I have to say, an opinion poll that we've recently done suggests that about 70% of the population think that politicians should stay out of women's abortion decisions altogether. But there's a discussion to be had about the rights and wrongs of it. There's another discussion, which I think is completely separate, to be had about how services should be delivered when it is legal. And I really agree with Julian that that's a clinical matter, and that's something that really should be shaped by what's in the interest of best clinical practice. And that's really how we have to provide our service. And there is no evidence that there is a problem with abortion counselling. There is no evidence that women are somehow being provided with the kind of advice and support that is in any way different to that the Department of Health requires us to do. So finally, there are actually a lot of problems with counselling. There are huge problems with knowing how counselling should be defined. Not abortion counselling, but Suzanne Moore on Women's Hour this morning was making the point that when a woman has a miscarriage, she has scant opportunity to have counselling provided for her. Mental health services in this country are in a fair degree of disarray in terms of people who actually need counselling. I would secondarily say there are a huge number of problems with abortion services. There are huge problems with women being unable to access late abortion procedures that they need. There are no problems in this country with women accessing good abortion counselling services, and indeed it's been said that this is a solution in search of a problem, and it really is, and it would be really much better if politicians concentrated on those issues that are problems, gutted out, and really let the areas that are being run well at the moment continue in the way that they are. Thank you.
Thank you.